Hello and welcome to episode fucking 20. We fucking did it. We did 20 episodes. I sat here with a microphone, sometimes with people, sometimes alone, and talked to you 20 times for several hours. So, it's pretty crazy. I actually fucking did. I talk a little bit about it later, but, thanks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. This is pretty cool. It means a lot that someone would sit down and listen to this, so I hope you enjoy this one. It's a lot of Death Note talk. If you haven't seen Death Note, don't want to be spoiled on it, or don't want to be spoiled on the new movie, which, trust me, take this as an opportunity to not watch the movie and let me have watched it for you and explain to you why it's bad, and we'll all move on, because it is not good. Not worth your time. Do not do that. I'm trying to save you here, but, the first hour is me just talking about Death Note. I didn't think I had as much to say, but fuck, did I have a lot to say, so I'll put a timestamp for, basically where the spoilers are. The main chunk of me talking about Death Note, and then the rest of it is just kind of a normal me solo episode where I just talk about the shit I've been doing, the shit I've been reading or watching or playing or whatever. I didn't really actually talk about games this one. This has actually been pretty exclusively manga. Really, just a big manga episode. It's been kind of like a big focus of my life, manga and anime again, which is weird because I go in waves with it, where it's like sometimes I never think about it. I go months without really caring about it, If it pops in, it pops in. But lately, it's just been a big recurring thing in my life. And I've been digging it a lot. It's been a lot of fun. So yeah, it's been good. So I'm glad we're at 20. And here's for another 20. And keep going. Just keep doing this. It's a lot of fun. So thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy this one. I get real hot and bothered about Death Note, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoy listening to it a lot. So all right, I hope you enjoy. Hello and welcome to episode 20. We made it all the way to 20. It's pretty fucking crazy. The fact I just sat down and actually did something for 20 times in a row. Pretty weird. And I was going to sit down and I was like, man, I don't know what I could possibly want to talk about right now. I feel like I just did one by myself. I don't, whatever. And then Netflix decided to step in and deliver to us this fucking Death Note movie. Holy shit. What the fuck was that? I literally just watched it, and I could not sit down and do this right now. Oh my god. Now, as background, I guess I was a bigger fan of the original show, the anime. I never read the manga. I've gone over this in some other shows, but I recently rewatched the show, and upon rewatching it, it's not that great. It's kind of okay. It really falls off once spoilers for all of Death Note, the new movie and the show, from here on out. But it really falls off after Light joins the police force. Once he joins the police force and starts doing stuff, once it's not about L trying to figure out who Kira is, and trying to figure out why Light potentially, why he keeps feeling it's Light and keeps thinking it's Light. And as soon as he joins the police force, it starts to dip. Then once L dies, it really takes a dip. And not because Nier sucks or Mello sucks or any of that dynamic is bad. The reason it dips so bad, it's so into such lower quality of storytelling is, I think, is because L goes forever being it's fucking Light, it's got to be Light, there's no way it's not Light, I don't know how he's doing it, but I know it's got to be him. And he's constantly bringing it up. He would think, no, it's not him, go through more evidence, and they go, no, it's still probably him. And then he dies and deletes all information, deletes every bit of data from his case. There's nothing for the follow-up, for the two upcomers to have any information on. Zero. And Nier figures it out again. Immediately, he's oh, it's him. There's no way it's not this guy. It's got to be this guy. And so I feel it suffers because of that, because everyone is so fucking incompetent, and no one listens. And then, they keep I guess that's kind of a human thing to, hang on to this one thing. Oh, well, we figured out that he wasn't killing people when he was in custody, so there's no way it's him, blah, blah, blah. And, yeah, I guess it makes sense. People would be well, that one thing of evidence, I'm not going to shake that. That proves it. Because, that's kind of the case with a lot of forms of faith in human history, I guess, would be like the one thing you're like, oh, but that's the one thing, man, like that one thing, I that can't be, that doesn't work out, even though, like, it's still, like, it all makes sense. But the fact that a second guy, and Aizawa eventually is like, all right, this fucking guy's saying it too, I'm starting to think it might be Light, let's figure this out, and he gets caught like right away. But like, he goes way too long without being caught. So many times he's like cornered and just does some bullshit or whatever. And like, yeah, the reason L dies is kind of bullshit with like the whole like Rem like cheating. Basically, he basically wins by cheating in that fight. But Death Note aside, the first like maybe 10 episodes, where even when he's in the police force, it's still okay. It's just like maybe let's say the first half is really fucking good. That's just awesome 3D chess battle of a lot of like, like a lot of episodes are literally just two people in the room having a light conversation, but with intense like inner monologues of, all right, he said this, what does he mean here? Why does he mean this? What is he trying to do? Why does this connect to this? What's this to this? Da, 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 da. And so it makes it really, really cool. And when it is this 3D chess battle between the two guys. And that's kind of also why the Nier section suffers, is because Light never respects Nier to ever be at the level of L. Even though several times he's like, wow, this kid reminds me a lot of him. Like, I've never stopped battling him. But he never really, like, he's caught for such a dumb mistakes. Just constantly being outsmarted because he's being lazy. Whereas he was being outsmarted by L because L was just smarter. He was just being smarter with the situation. He was picking up the small pieces and that kind of thing. But we now are given this gem of a movie. We'll call it that. Whew. Oh my god. It's just good. It's just so dumb. It's so dumb. Light and the Misa equivalent, Mia. I mean, Misa, I'll call her Misa throughout this. Misa for this movie. Because, I don't know, it's embedded in my mind. But she is so annoying from the fucking opening credit sequence, where everything's in slow motion, they're doing whatever. And she's like, got her arms crossed, like, I don't want to be a cheerleader. And she's fucking, oh, too bad I'm pretty, I don't want to do this. And she's just being, like, moody for some reason, because I guess that's cool. And then, like, she's just smoking during cheerleading practice. Like, I don't who fucking, she's annoying. Like, that's such an annoying little, like, thing to put in the character, but whatever. And then Light's kind of a moron and just doing people's homework as opposed to being just, like, a studious genius that no one would ever, like, that's the thing with the show Light that this movie Light doesn't do, is that the show Light, you are constantly given reasons to doubt that he would be a serial killer. Constantly. Perfect straight A student. Fucking diligent, does, fucking smart as hell, going to college, attractive. Like, he's got all these things that everyone's like, wait a minute, I don't think that could be him, because he's like this, he's, this perfect person, which helps to his, like, god angelic, like, state. He tries to, like, he basically dons that persona because he's just like this perfect Adonis like creature, and then, but like in real life he's like that, but then his internal self also kind of starts relating to that, where he's like, no, I'm the god, I am God, and nothing could defeat God. And this movie just is so stupid, because like Light is just such a dope. He's just like a goofy kid. He's like, oh, I know how to do math real well, so I'll just do your math homework, which is stupid. And then he gets in trouble for doing cheating and shit like that, which, like, he's already kind of a delinquent now, because, like, okay, like, yeah, sure, he's a troubled youth, and his mother died for stupid whatever, who the fuck cares? And it's just like, so, like, Elle's an idiot. I don't know. Light's an idiot. Misa's an idiot. And they're both just dumb. Like, there are times where they're talking, all right, let me back up. They start this movie. He gets the book, and then Ryuk shows up. Ryuk, for some reason, has just a magic wind power or something. When he showed up for the first time, the whole classroom is just tossed about, and things are broken, desks are moved, and papers fly. I don't really know. He does it later in the movie, too, where he's using weird god powers and destroying things, but that actually might be passable because of the way they restructure the way the Death Note works. The heart attack rule, not in this at all. Apparently, if you don't say the way they die, it is up to Ryuk, because basically, instead of Ryuk being like Ryuk is at the will of L. It feels that way, especially in the beginning, until we kind of figure out a little bit more Ryuk. But like, it feels the way that Like, oh no, Ryuk kind of messed up. Kind of like a much more dramatic and violent Bill and Mandy. With Grimm and that, where he was like, damn, I'm stuck with these kids. That was kind of the Ryuk that we get in the beginning of Death Note, where he's like, damn, I've been taken, my fucking book got taken. I'm now gonna pout and eat apples while this kid does things. I'll giggle and laugh in the background. But in this, rather, he wants to give it to humans. Like, he doesn't do the job. Like in the anime, because I've never read the manga, so I'll be talking, I guess, I'll talk from the anime side of this. In the anime, it's an accident that Light gets the book. Ryuk's job, when he's in the Shinigami realm, is to kill people. That is kind of what he does. That is the job of Shinigami. And now the job moves on to a human. That's kind of where the interesting part of it comes in, where a human is granted the power of a god. So the idea of Kira being a god is not foreign to this whole thing. And so it's the opposite here, where it's like Ryuk doesn't have direct power, maybe? Because apparently you can also kill him with the notebook, which is weird. And I don't really get why that's the case. I think it's kind of stupid, because you're not supposed to be able to kill a god of death. The god of death can only die in a certain way, which plays into how L ends up dying in the anime and all that stuff. It's a big thing that a Shinigami cannot die by the Death Note. And for some reason you can do that, and like he's just like crazy evil in this. Like it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like they're like Ryuk is, I don't know how to put it. Ryuk's position in the anime is closer to like almost our position, where we're kind of watching Light do things and then he asks the questions. So when Light is setting up his little desk trap, he's like, what is that? And then Light explains it to Ryuk. So Ryuk is in a way our for the first few episodes at least, because actually Ryuk disappears for a good portion of the show, because Light is transferring Death Notes and moving Death Notes around and forsaking the ownership of a Death Note so that he doesn't remember anything, can't be questioned, and then like someone else gets the Death Note. So this thing is constantly moving around. It's constantly moving around. So like for a while Ryuk does disappear, because in the beginning he's used as our eyes. He asked the questions. Why are you doing this, Light? What does this mean? Why would you do it this way? Why is it you chose to kill people this way as opposed to this way? Oh, and then Light can explain, because Light is so much smarter than all of us. That's the point. Light and L are supposed to be so much smarter. So many times while watching Death Note, you get the feeling of the show, rather, the anime. You're going to be like, oh shit, that was really smart that he just did that. That was so cool. Oh, he made the decision, and now L thinks this, and or Light now thinks this instead of the correct thing or whatever. So that he's constantly like outsmarting everything, and there's so many, like, so we get to have Ryuk, but it's for the beginning, and as the thing goes on, it disappears. In this, they have more of an antagonistic relationship, which is really fucking weird. I don't know, like it doesn't seem like he they're kind of baiting each other. It's like, if you don't do it, man, I'll do it for you. Like, it's weird, and like I don't really get it. I don't really understand like why they made that choice, instead of just having like, it's almost like a buddy relationship at the beginning, and then it stops being that way. There are no eyes in this. There are no Shinigami eyes where you can see the person's face. That is not really a thing. Although they do add, like the rules page is the first like 9 pages. It's like 80-something rules, 90-something rules, as opposed to like the initial first page where it's like maybe 5 rules. Or no, I want to say there was it 10 rules? And then Light adds 3 later on. I think that's what it is. I think there's just like maybe 9 or 10 rules written in the Death Note. And in this, there's like 90. So like there's like every rule ever. And they changed some of the rules. Like you can kill a Shinigami, or if you don't use it in 7 days, or if you get rid of it for 7 days, it changed. Like Ryuk takes it back and goes find someone else. I forget. It was super weird that they would add you can burn a page once and save someone's life for fucking whatever reason. Weird dramatic tension, I guess. So it's just like really dumb that they would just like, they changed so much of the actual book, which changes so much of the story after that, because you can't, there's no Shinigami eyes, so you don't have Misa, by the way, fucking awful. I brought it up earlier, but I'm gonna keep emphasizing this. She's straight up horrifically evil. Now, I get that you can say that at any point in Death Note, depending on where you stand as a person, you can say that Light is the bad guy, or you can say that L is the bad guy. Or maybe that they're both kind of the bad guy because they both have noble goals, but they both have very illegal methods, we'll say. I'm firmly in the camp that Light is 100% evil as fuck. There's no redeeming quality about Light. He is so evil and twisted, and because, here's the thing. When he starts out, yes, he's super noble. He's super noble. But by like episode 5, he is killing off FBI agents. He is killing off other innocent people. He's doing anything he can to not get caught. It is no longer about, he's only killing criminals because it just to keep appearances up. It is no longer about the purification of humanity. It is about winning this battle against L. It's no longer, it stops being about what he sets out to be. And so I think for that purpose, because L's objective is to get Kira. That's it. Whereas Light's objective as Kira is to purify all evil. But immediately upon being threatened, that goes out the window and is 100% about winning so he can attain godhood. So his ego surpasses any form of nobility that he has, what he's doing. Anything towards a noble cause, gone out the window. So I think Light is just straight up evil throughout the whole thing. And apparently in the manga you get a bit better taste of why L is a little bit evil. Like he'll break a lot of laws. He'll solve any crime. Every crime he's solved rather has been done through like he's probably broken a law or two, and that's kind of his big thing within the manga. I guess that's more emphasized in the manga, but in the anime especially, I mean, he'll detain people, he'll do certain things that are kind of fucked up. Like what he does with Misa when he kidnaps her, it's a little fucked up, but like it's a lot of being cautious and not really understanding how these powers work, and it's got to be these two, blah blah blah. So like, a lot. There's a lot of it, a lot to there like that. But I would definitely say that no matter what it is that Light is doing, or L's doing, Light is so much more evil. He's so much more twisted by this idea of power. And in this movie, it is 100%. Misa is twisted as fuck. She's so evil. Like right away, she's the villain of this whole thing. She's so fucking evil. Like she's just like, we can just fucking murder people. And that's the other thing too that I changed in this. Touching the Death Note does not allow you to see the Shinigami. It does not allow you, but anyone can write in it. Anyone can do it. They can write in this thing. So even though it's not your Death Note, you can't see Ryuk. You can write down a name and still kill someone, but you don't have the other benefit of it with like the actual God of Death, maybe potentially explain things. It's really weird. I'm not really sure why that was a decision they made, because I don't feel like that takes away from the story at all, and I kind of feel like it just made it like, I'm trying to think, what's an example of this? Can't think right now. It was just weird. Like, Light would just have conversations with Ryuk and then have to, like, tell her, like, oh, he said this. For some reason. I don't know why they chose to keep that part out. It was really weird. I don't really know what that was for. It didn't really make much sense. And because once, like, the Shinigami gets discovered and, like, that adds another layer to the little mind games that Light and L have to play with each other. It's very strange. It was a really, really weird decision. But, yeah, she's just so fucking twisted and evil the whole time. And so like, but like, I guess like so the big thing with Misa in the anime is that the Misa Light relationship is fucked right up. She is in love with him because like, it's basically like, this is my god and I'm in love with him and I want to do everything for him. And like, he understands that he has this complete control over her. And so he abuses that power. He'll be like, he'll treat her all sweet and then make her go kill people while he goes and deals with other stuff. But she's just writing down fucking Japanese criminals' names just so we can keep up appearances or whatever while we're in some other country or something. We're doing something else. Like, just keep writing names down. Or like he'll lash out at her. He'll get angry. But he'll turn it right back off. He'll turn it right around and be all romantic and just fucking melt her heart or whatever. And in this, that's kind of there. But it's because Misa's like the fucking power and is like in love with the power over Light. And like to the point where they're doing shit. Like they're fucking on the Death Note. Like they're having sex and writing names down. Like, oh, that's so much fun. Look at us go. And it's like, it's just so fucking dumb. It's a dumb way to do that. It just seemed like, it's just so fucking, it was so weird. There's this whole like little sex scene, little montage thing where they're murdering people and fucking making out and writing names down and fucking on the book and writing. It's so stupid. And then they also get the thing where it's like, and that's another thing too, is in the anime, the name of Kira, this concept of Kira, came up naturally because the heart attack rule, where if you write someone's name down within 40 seconds, they died of a heart attack. That's not in here for some reason, and I don't know why. They just don't have that rule. I cannot comprehend why you would leave that out. It doesn't make any sense. And so, because that's not there, for the idea of this god figure Kira to show up, for everyone in the world to know of this god figure, they have to make up, basically he creates the idea of Kira. So instead of people online in the original one, where they're online, it's in forums, the people name him. In this, he's I'm gonna have we're gonna pick Kira because it means light and something else, and he's North, I think it was a North or Celtic language. And it also kind of means killer in Japanese. So he has people write in blood, in perfect Japanese kanji, something about Kira. And so he creates the moniker and creates the persona of Kira instead of it coming up naturally. So it just seems super fucking weird and kind of douchey. It was kind of so he can be oh, we'll do it in Japanese, so they'll think the killer's in Japan, but really it's here in Seattle. And it's fucking stupid. And it's just so, oh my god. They just make so many weird little changes that didn't make any sense. And another thing too, it'd be and I get they're, oh Jesus, I get they're fucking kids. I get that, but the amount of time they just talk about the Death Note, or the way Misa finds him and finds out about the Death Note is he's fucking just reading it in the gym. He's just reading through the rules in the gym, and she's what you got? And he's oh, cute girl talking to me. I'm gonna show her I have my death book. And so he goes and shows her about the Death Note. That's fucking how she finds out. It's not she's a big fan of Kira and then is I'll do anything for him. I gotta go find him. No. He's just fucking stupid and straight up shows someone, hey, look at this book I have that can fucking murder people. Isn't it cool? Will you kiss me now? It's... And the next scene after that is them fucking around, and making out and fucking on the Death Note. It's so stupid. It's just... And I guess it makes her... she's super evil and she's in love with the power. She's in love with the person. So that's kind of a neat little dynamic, but it's not really... The movie has to move at 1,000,000 miles an hour just to cover a portion of the general arc of Death Note, even though it's already thrown all that out the window. So I don't really know. The beginning is them really establishing a lot of the early Death Note key moments, and then the second half is fucking who cares? We're gonna change this completely. It's so fucking dumb. And then so oh my god, why did this movie exist? So yeah, they just change all these rules. Ryuk's a douchebag, villain thing. Misa's awful. L's okay. L gets really bad. I feel like this movie was one thing and they changed it midway through writing, because the end is so dramatically different in everything. The beginning is more or less a very American version. If an American got the Death Note, what would happen? And it's very close to it's stupid. The kids are dumb, but American kids are stupid, and we don't have that very entrance exams don't really exist. So there's not a reason for him to be in his room and constantly writing names down, and there's all this stuff, and Light is very childish. Don't get me wrong. Light in the anime, super childish. There's a reason L starts figuring out who it is because he challenges his pride. He challenges him in ways like that make him fuck up and, kill a guy because he's being threatened or whatever. But because the people who are, Light in this movie so rarely, if at all, kills anyone because they're a threat. When certain characters threaten him, it's because, Misa makes the decision. Misa steals a page, and she has a guy. That's another thing, too. The major way of murder in this is mind control, which kind of was a thing in the anime. But like I said, the big thing about the whole Kira thing is his trademark was the heart attacks. Sure, a couple people killed themselves and stuff, but those were never really associated with the case as much as the mass amount of heart attacks happening to criminals. But that doesn't exist in this. So everyone is doing these weird mind control things. And so every fucking kill. And at the end, there's a part where she writes his name down, he writes her name down, and like the book is like they're having this conversation. And really, it's like I don't know who's in control because of the mind control aspect of this whole thing. So it's just like I feel like the book should not have been changed. They should not have changed the rules. They should not have changed like the structure of stuff, because I feel like it made sense already. It had kind of a like, we've seen it in practice. Even if you want to change the story, that's fine. But like changing the book so much, changing the rules that this magical book uses, I don't feel like we're thought out clearly enough, because like it is like the amount of mind control is insane. It's just like literally everyone is killed by mind control, every single person, to the point where like, and like I think the one rule they established was 2 days out, which I think was similar to the manga. You had a certain time limit that you could control someone's actions before they died, or the anime rather. I don't know specifically the manga again, but like it's just so weird that you would change that. Regardless, I have dwelled on this stupid book for so long. I mean, it's a major part. It's the whole crutch of this whole story. Like, this whole story does not happen unless his book shows up, and they change so much of the book, and it makes it so weird. But let's talk about L. So L is okay. He's not terrible. At the end, he gets really bad. So at the end, he becomes like really emotional because of like this thing to do with Watari, which also no one says his name correctly. They all say Atari, I think is what they keep saying, instead of Watari. Which, like, I get it. You're all American or whatever. But then some other thing too I'm going to point out. Some people don't say Kira right. I forget what the guy... There's a point where, like, someone hits L with a... Like, L's got light at gunpoint. I know. L having a gun, ridiculous as it is. But we'll continue. And then this, like, worker comes and knocks L out because, oh, this man's Kira. Kira is my god. But he says Kira wrong, and I forget what he said. But it was just, like, not correct. And it was like, well, it was weird. Like, this is not a hard word to say. But you can tell, like, not everyone really could really... You could, like, the thing is, too, and I don't know if it's just because the guy who plays L is actually a good actor as opposed to everyone else in this fucking movie, but he would say Watari's name correctly. And I think he was saying it correctly, either because he actually knows Death Note, because I'll be honest, the decisions he made in acting... different ways he would show himself, some different ways he would hold his body, different ways he would have conversations, the cadence of his voice, was doing a good job. Like, he was actually doing it. I mean, he had the script is a fucking dumpster fire, but he was putting in the work, you know? At one point, Elle and Light are running, and they're chasing each other, and the way Elle is running is very weird, and like, you know, like someone who wouldn't really know how to use their body, because they don't really do much with it. They just kind of, you know, whatever. So, like... he seemed to be trying, and he was great in Get Out. So I'm not surprised that this guy's continuing to be great. And he may have already been like a fan of Death Note, and he was like, oh, I'll actually try to do this character well. And I think he did a great job. He was the most redeeming part of this. It's just the shitty script that kind of fucked him. Because, like, he gets all emotional, he gets a gun, he goes off to chase L or Light and to shoot Light, L, and it's just like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's just so ridiculous. That, like, there's just... I don't even know, man. I don't even know. What is this? I took fucking notes on this movie. I was so fucking... Oh, yeah. So another big thing. Another real pain in my ass. Is because they just don't give a shit about the fucking power they have. They just don't care. They don't care. They're walking around talking about it in school. He's an asshole just reading out in front of fucking everyone in gym class. Or maybe, I don't know what it was. I think it was gym class. I don't know. They were in the gym and there was a bunch of kids running around. So he's just fucking got this fucking, he's walking around with outside. He's leaving on his desk when he leaves the room. Like, it just sits on his desk and he leaves the room when he's at home. And sure, only his dad lives there. But if fucking anyone walked in, and at that point he had already killed someone. So sure, you can't, like, one-to-one equivalent, like, be like, oh, that's weird, you got a name book that says Death Note, and the fucking kid who's dead, his name on there, and then the first rule is anyone whose name is, whatever. So, like, but he's not, like, cautious. He doesn't, like, protect the book in any way. They talk about it in just broad daylight. They don't give a fuck. They just talk about the fucking book. They talk about the bullshit about the book. Fucking, he is, at the fucking end of the movie, he's, like... It's the one actually kind of cool part of it where we actually see a Light plan. We see a Light plan something out, utilize the rules of the book in his favor for the first time. They break down this little elaborate plan he had, where he had a bunch of these little criminals. One was a doctor, and that doctor saves him when he falls in the water, because he falls off the fucking Ferris wheel from the trailer or whatever. And then fucking, there's a guy who's going to take the notebook and write some names down so they don't think it's Light, and then bring the notebook back to Light. And then he also put Misa's name in there. Mia's name, whatever fucking her name is in this movie. And then the name of the book, or if she takes the book, that means she'll die. But I'm not really sure how you can put a clause in the book, because if her name's in the book with takes book, that means she's just going to do it, because the amount of mind control, the intense level of mind control in this. Like, at one point, all the FBI agents die because they're threatening Light, and he's like, no, we can't kill them, they'll know it's me. And then fucking she's like, Misa's like, fuck you, I'll fucking do it. She steals the fucking page and then writes their, no, she doesn't write their names down. She finds one fucking dude, tases him, because fuck me, I guess, in a fucking, what do you call him, parking garage. So, no one's going to see this, of course. So she fucking tases him, finds out his name, writes his name down, and then writes, we'll write every other FBI agent's name in the notebook, and while thinking of their faces, and then have them jump off this building and commit suicide. Which is fucking stupid. That you can have, like the amount of mind control is just so crazy. It's just such a nonsense workaround. And it's like, I hate it. I hate it so much. I don't know why they went with that. It was just so, it's so ridiculous. Like, the heart attack thing is cool because it's like a calling card. It makes this, like, it's closer to a serial killer thing. It makes sense that someone would notice a trend. It's like, oh, weird, everyone's dying of heart attacks, they're all criminals, is this a disease that's going on in prisons, what is this? And then a guy goes, no, it's a person, he's killing people. Like, that's cool, the Kira name pops up, it's like, oh, criminals die if you have heart attacks because of this guy, like, there were other ways of thinking about the situation, but with the mind control, it's only because he's like, I'm going to make a name for myself, we're going to have a nickname, like, it's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that the mind control does exist in the fucking story of the anime and the manga, but it's like, it's for rare occasions. It's situational, it just, I feel like it was so quintessential to that character of Light being like having easy ways to just deal with people. I think one heart attack happens this whole thing. And like, then when she writes his Light's name in the book, it's to the effect of like his heart will stop at midnight or whatever, because you have complete, like, such detailed control over how things happen. And then the one thing that was really, when the one time he just wrote the name, Ryuk comments on it, he's like, how will he die? He goes, oh, it's dealer's choice. And then, he gets the guy killed, shot to death, and he, whatever. Because Ryuk's just fucking with Light, because fuck me, right? Like, it's just, I don't get it, man. I don't get why they made these, like, it's just such a weird, like, I get that we've had, like, Japanese versions of these that are pretty much like retellings of the manga and stuff, but it really feels like they just wanted the name and the general concept, but didn't go past that. Like, they picked up volume 1 of the manga and turned it to the back and read the fucking back of the book and then put it back on the shelf and went and wrote a fucking script. There were 3 people who worked on the script. 3 people. Like, is not one of them a fan of the thing they're writing from? Like, and I get, make it your own, do your own thing, but like, Christ almighty, do you, like, the thing is because it's such a complicated, it's a typical, I forget what genre this is, it's shonen or something, whatever the one above shonen is, shonen maybe, whatever, it's a little bit more adult and a little bit more like thinking, it's like the battles are of the mind, they're not of straight battle, and it's just, it's such an important part of it, I feel like. I don't know. Like, I just feel like the book's rules are so essential to the story. They're so essential to this whole structure. The reason things happen is because of the way the book, like the book's structure. And the way, like, Light will eventually uses the rules as ways to get around suspicion and to beat their certain things. It's just, boy, it's just crazy. It's just such a nuts thing, It's so dumb. But in a funnier note, the fucking music choices in this movie are fucking terrible. Oh my god. Wow, who the fuck? I forget I think there were two people who worked on the music decisions or something, the music supervisors. But holy shit, couldn't you not have picked worse songs to pin, like just to accent moments? Holy cow! You know, I'm gonna look them up right now. Let's find out what these fucking songs were, because the one had like basically the two big moments. They have two like big emotional moments, like, you know, the scene of Misa dying, and when fucking Light's dad shows up and is like, oh, it's fucking you, and he's like, yep, because he doesn't give a fuck. He'll just fucking admit it to anyone who gives a shit, right? Let's find out. It was just so crazy. It's just like, that's the other thing too, is he just doesn't give a fuck. Like, his dad's like, oh, so you gotta be him. He goes, yeah. It's like, what? How are you not gonna fight this dude? Like, it's just, like, how can you not? How could you not be like, oh yeah, that I gotta not make sure my dad knows this. I gotta get around this. It's just like, all right, Feel My Love was 100% one of them. I think that's was it? I Don't Want to Live Without Your Love? Was that the other one? And The Power of Love. No, these are the two songs I'm thinking of. Yeah, so as they're fucking falling, they have their big moment. She betrays him and is being a stupid asshole the whole fucking time. And then the fucking, because the way, I don't know, it doesn't matter. It's so stupid. Fucking Ryuk just starts destroying the Ferris wheel because these assholes are being chased. And chased, I guess they just misinterpreted the situation, because the police were there to protect Light, not arrest him. They're there to protect him against L, who has a gun, is lethal, and is going to go kill him, whatever. So, like, they weren't a problem. They weren't in danger. So whatever. It's just what a fucking ridiculous thing. And so, they're falling out, and the whole thing is about like literally the song is I Don't Want to Live Without Your Love. But that doesn't fucking matter, because she's just evil as shit. She just wants the book because she doesn't think he can do it. He's like, you can't do this job. You fucking suck. I can do this job. Ah. And so, like, she's just an asshole and fucking, but like, this is the song that's playing. A stupid song about their fucking fake love thing, because she doesn't actually give a shit. She just wants the power. She's a crazy person. And then fucking when his dad walks in, they're having these fucking, and these songs are terrible. They are like, not only are they bad songs to pinpoint these somewhat dramatic moments, they're fucking like, they're just really bad. They're fucking, I don't know, how do I explain it? I don't know, you can listen to the fucking songs, I guess. I mean, I guess it punctuates like this stupid bullshit high school love so well. Because, like, you know, it's just fucking fake and ridiculous, and these characters are dumb, and they just do dumb shit, and it's just, oh, why does this movie exist? And, like, I don't even fucking love Death Note anymore. Like, after rewatching the show, and kind of noticing that, like, everyone's just so incompetent for police, and, like, to the point, like, Light is so, in the show, is so fucking dumb, and just not giving a fuck after fucking L dies, because at one point the SPK, the Special Kira unit, or no, what was it called? I forget. It was like unit built by Nier and the FBI to catch Kira. I forget what it's called. SPK was a Special Police. I forget. I think that's what it's called. I forget. But they catch their goal is to catch Kira, and he straight up murders everyone that has their name available online. Like, there's like, I forget how many, there was like, I want to say like 16, and there's like 4 of them left. And then Nier's like, yep, it's that guy. The only guy we threatened. It's gotta be him. But then the Japanese police force is like, that's impossible. How could it be him? That's impossible. But they already know that, like, you can, you know, Death Notes can move around and like all this fucking shit, and it's ridiculous, dude. It's just like, how? How is everyone so incompetent? Just listen to it's like the second guy who has zero information. He has no previous evidence. Upon meeting, like, interacting with Light once, is like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that guy. Tests it and goes, yeah, it's pretty much that guy. But no one listens to him. And, like, It's just ridiculous. But like the beginning of that show is fucking awesome. Like just the fucking mental chess that goes on there. Just this fucking back and forth, these mental battles is fucking awesome. And it's just so well done. And like it's not a bad show. It's just shocking how long it takes for this asshole, because he's an asshole. Light is straight up horrifically evil. Like there's just no redeeming quality. Like fucking Mike had watched this show recently, or maybe watched it like the beginning, and he was like, I don't fucking remember how like annoying Light is, but he's literally like evil laughing episode like 1 or 2. And I rewatched it, like, yeah, this dude is fucking cackling to himself about this, fucking whatever grand idea he has, because he's this crazy person. And like, don't get me wrong, the idea of like removing evil people, great, awesome, but like it's not like his idea is noble in a kind of twisted way, but like it brings an interesting argument to the table of this guy's got this thing. Like, if you were given this power, what would you do with it? Would you be Akira? Would you defeat the evil? It's a really interesting idea. It's a really interesting like thought experiment when you kind of think, you break it down. You're like, okay, how would I do it? Which ways would I do these things? But that's not the point of him anymore, because that is not his goal. His goal is 100% to just beat L, which is a cool part of the whole thing. But I feel like it diminishes his meaning and his intensity of being kind of like this character. I don't know. He's not this noble figure. He's just evil as fuck. But yeah, that's fucking, I guess all I have to say on Death Note. Oh my god. I guess I really do care about Death Note, because it is a cool story. It's a cool story with a cool premise and a cool fucking little magical set system. It's very cool. It's just so weird to watch this movie, because I know they've mentioned, or at least the director was like, he at least wants to make a sequel to maybe two more movies, like make a trilogy out of this if we want it. And you bet your sweet ass I thumbs down that movie as soon as I finished it, because it was so fucking bad. Oh my god, it's so bad. It was so bad. Oh my god. It was really bad. It just didn't give a shit. And like, it made the amount of mind control, man, it really made it so confusing. It made it so confusing. But like, especially near the end, they both have their names written in the book. She writes his name and then he writes her name, and you're just like, I don't know how this book would work, because doesn't her note is more important than your note? But then I guess you wrote notes that I don't know how. It's so confusing. I don't know. Like, he writes it so detailed where it's like the page falls out, but like, how is it? I guess her thing isn't as detailed enough. I guess she was just like, his heart stops at midnight, where he was like, she's going to take the death note and then she's going to fall out of the fucking thing, and as she's falling, grab for the notebook and then pull his page out with his name on it, which will then fall into this fire pit. And like, it was just so crazy how much you could control. Not just people, but you control the environment, you can control just everything, which I guess is kind of established with the amount of like crazy psychokinetic powers that Ryuk has, and he's just moving furniture and blowing shit around, and like every time he shows up, lightning shoots down, and you've seen it there with his hands, he's crushing fucking parts of the Ferris wheel. It's just so weird. I really don't understand the added addition of the fact you can murder him with the book, because he makes a real weird reference to being like, you can try, but the furthest anyone's ever got of my 4-letter name is 2 letters. And then that's never like brought up again. That was weird. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they made that change that the book can kill him. And then I unless it's like for like an intentional like, oh, we're gonna make another one, wink wink. But like, I don't know if anyone wants that. I really don't. Like, I really don't know. I would love to know like what someone's opinion who's never like has no attachment to Death Note would think of this movie, because I just feel like it's so logically, I don't know what's what I want. Like, the internal logic of the series, of this movie, does not like hold up as well. I don't feel like. Maybe it does. I don't know. Maybe I'm coming at it at a place of like, I'm constantly comparing it and the rule and the changes and all that stuff to the original. And I do feel like the original had a very concrete rule set that really like, basically the writer, whose name I forget, Oya, O-H-Y, I forget his name. No, Oya. That's the character from Persona 5. I don't remember. I forget his name, but he sets up a very clear rule set in the beginning, And then you see how he plays with that. The amount of times Light is passing death notes onto people, and they pass a death note onto him, but he keeps a page, and then he does this, and he does that, and he buries the notebook, and he moves the notebook over here, and he sends a notebook over there. And like, it's very cool. It's a very interesting way that they do the whole thing. Sure, the way he gets caught with the fake death note, and Nier's guy made a perfect recreation in a night, and like that's kind of ridiculous and total bullshit. That would, but like every time anyone loses in that show, it's kind of bullshit. Like fucking, Elle is cheated because Rem is an asshole and fucking kills herself or himself. I don't know what fucking Rem is, but out of care for Misa, and then Nier cheats too, and in a weird way by doing this thing that doesn't make any sense that would happen. Like it was weird. I don't know, but like it's everything. Like it's kind of like Breaking Bad in a way, where the incline, the ride up to the peak. Like I like the way I would break up Breaking Bad. That's a weird sentence, but it would be like very big peaks and then like valleys, and like things constantly, like the peaks keep going higher, like in terms of elevation of intensity and importance of each moment, but like there's a constant buildup, the big moment, and then we kind of cool down for a little bit, and then it picks back up. But when it picks up a little higher. So it's kind of like, I don't know how you describe it, but like it constantly is climbing and escalating up, but each moment is higher than the last, and then our dips are less because we have to deal with the repercussions of what just happened. And that was kind of the flow of the show. And I feel like that's kind of similar to Death Note, but I feel like it's maybe in smaller, like, arcs are less, there's less arcs. So I would say like, but the ride to each peak is really fun in Death Note, where you're watching these characters try to outthink each other and just try to beat each other. But instead of how Breaking Bad was constantly an uphill, except for maybe the last bit, I thought the ending was kind of weak, up until a certain character dies. For those who've watched it, you know what I'm talking about, in the desert. So I feel like that was like the peak awesome moment where I was like, holy shit. But then like everything after that, things started to like kind of wrap up a little quickly. But that's Breaking Bad. We're talking about Death Note. I just feel like everything up until L, and then once Nier and Mello come into the picture, it's a lot lower and a lot less. Like it's not a constant uphill. It's not always getting better. It just kind of dips at that point and goes kind of back to like it definitely goes below the starting point, because the starting point is so fascinating. It's so fast. It's such a great fucking opening. Those first few episodes are fucking great. Like when he goes to college, all that shit. It's so well done. So well done. But that's just that Death Note movie, man. It's crazy. It's fucking insane. I can't believe that got made. I don't know. Maybe someone's gonna like it. I mean, it definitely seems like it's appealing to that fucking, what do you call it? Hot Topic crowd. Those kids back when in high school, those wearing, what are those called? Those pants, the big black pants, a bunch of buckles on them. What are those called? Zippers too? I think it's zippers. Maybe I'm just adding zippers because I feel like that's edgy in my head. I don't know. I forget what they were called. Fuck, Janko jeans, maybe? Is that a thing? I don't know. I have no one to correct me. I'm just gonna say words. All right, so I guess instead of just talking for 45 minutes on Death Note, I'll talk about a few other things. What's some other things here? Fist of the North Star game got announced like yesterday, recently, this week, like within the last like 3-4 days. Made by the Yakuza people, which I only recently learned how to say that properly. I think that's how you say it properly, according to some YouTube video that claims this is how you pronounce certain Japanese words. Yakuza, not Yakuza, which I constantly kept saying, but that is neither here nor there. They're making a Fist of the North Star game with their like, I've never actually played a Yakuza game, so I'm not really sure what it. I know that's like they're kind of like beat 'em ups, but like in this like hyper wonderful and like magical version of what do you call it, Tokyo and stuff like that. And I think I want to say they take place in like the 90s or something. Or maybe I forget. I think the first one might take place in like late 90s, and then they kind of catch up to modern times. But they have like these like fun little beat 'em up mechanics. The way the combat works, I'm familiar with. And so they're doing one of those with the license of Fist of the North Star, which if you don't know what that is, it's an incredibly old manga. Basically, like everyone, I've always seen people crediting JoJo for kind of just like influencing this like shonen movement. And actually, you know what? I'm not even sure which one came first. But like, It's always credited as, oops, I fucking knocked shit over. JoJo's always kind of credited as this like big, important shonen. It definitely associates or establishes a lot of tropes, but I don't think. Let me think. Where does this start? 1987. Maybe they start at the same time. Oh, actually, maybe this is actually. Oh no, okay. So that was from 1983, and this one starts in 1987. So yeah, Fist of the North Star is actually first. And I always see JoJo stuff being credited as like what sets up all these tropes in shonen and all that stuff. But Fist of the North Star is like, like I thought, incredibly old. Like it ended in 88, and JoJo started in 87. So this kind of like started this whole giant muscly men punching each other to death. And it's incredibly popular. I've never read it, never watched it. I don't think. I could be mistaken. I don't think any of the anime adaptations are great. Maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. I would like to read the manga. It's just because it seems really fun, and it's because it's so influential. And I've been on a kick in the last like year or two of really like exploring history of stuff, like playing all the Final Fantasy games. I'm now going through all the Dragon Quest games. Basically anything that I enjoy in the modern era, I like to see where it came from. I like to look into the history of its design, and maybe I'll do something about that somewhere in the future with something. I don't know. But like they're making a game on it, which seems perfect for like a cool like beat 'em up thing with people start glowing and shit like that, which the Yakuza games always do so much of. It's basically like Mad Max, but sort of there's no guns and cars aren't really as big a part, I don't believe. And everyone just kind of is really big and muscly and punches each other to death. And I believe he has Mike's read a bit of it, so he's explained a bit more to me. But he's part of a martial art technique that is like, it's like a killing martial art, and it's like it has like vital point stuff that can instantly kill someone and all that kind of shit. So it's like one touch death. I think. I'm not 100% certain. I've never looked into this, but kind of like an older version of One Punch Man. I wouldn't be surprised if One Punch Man was mildly inspired by this a little bit. I know it's more like One Punch Man is more of a parody of shonen. Again, I've never read all of it, or really any of it besides like the first chapter. So like One Punch Man is kind of like a parody of shonen, and like these superheroes that they build up to a certain power and they can just end any fight whenever, blah blah blah, and that kind of thing. And Fist of the North Star kind of has that, like, but like apparently his rival also kind of has this technique, so it's kind of them. Apparently, I should actually read this before I start talking about it. But the game looks really cool. It's a very cool environment, being this desert with like everything's the apocalypse has happened, so everyone's kind of walking around and they got their fucking Mad Max get-ups, and then they just punch each other a whole bunch, which is always pretty fucking cool. And I kind of always been wanting to read it, and I just haven't. So maybe I'll read that one after I get caught up in My Hero Academia, which I'm still working on. And so apparently, where I stopped was where the anime's first season ends, but I didn't really realize. But I guess that's like a perfect little spot for it to end, like the first like introduction of the villain characters, because it's like a superhero thing. So there's the villains, the heroes, and I had caught up, or I'd read up to the point where the big villains had shown up and they were defeated, but they were introduced. We see who these people are. We don't know much about their mission or anything like that. And then the next arc after that is kind of silly, and I wasn't really like on board, and I'm still not totally on board. We'll see how interesting it gets, but it's basically, I guess in this world, the Olympics stopped being kind of cool in Japan, and so instead it's this high school's superhero Olympics where they have like superhero, like the first event is a marathon run or whatever, some kind of race, and the race is full of these hazards and stuff, and they have to use their superpowers to get past them, but everyone can partake. Apparently the school is not just a superhero school, but it's also got the superhero business school, the superhero tech school, where people build tech stuff for, I guess, their suits and stuff, but also some of them have built their own suits, so I guess they can become superheroes too. And then there was a general education for this. I'm not sure how you get into that. That seems kind of like a weird thing to be a part of, but that was their thing. So they get kind of like, there's like, but everyone can partake. Everyone has superpowers, so like, they're emphasizing that these, I think it's the Gen Ed kids are like, we're gonna beat these hero kids. Like, these hero kids ain't shit. We got this. So like, it's kind of cool. I think it's gonna be. It looks like this series tournament arc, which big thing within shonen manga. You got your oh fuck, what are those called? What is the tournament called in Dragon Ball Z? I forget. That's really bad. I don't remember. But like the big fucking tournament in Dragon Ball Z, Hunter x Hunter has a ton of tournaments. and type of things, like the Hunter exam, and then they literally go to a tournament area, and Yu Hakusho has a very famous tournament arc. I forget what that one's called too. But I haven't actually done anything with Yu Hakusho since it was like on TV back in like 2007. No, that's too late. Probably 2003, maybe. I forget when it was on TV, but it was on TV a long time ago. They have a big one. So Shonen always has like this big, the Chunin exam from Naruto is a big one that people like and always quote. And that's basically as far as I got in Naruto, and I actually thought it was really cool. So like, they all have like these big tournament arcs, and this one's kind of seeming to be where this one plays out. I kind of would have thought, kind of going in, that the entrance exam would have been more of a tournament arc, but this seems like the whole arc is going to be designed around. Maybe there's going to be a bigger chunk dedicated to this sports or tournament, these events or whatever, this Olympics for superheroes. So that'll be kind of cool. I don't know, we'll see. It kind of seemed kind of silly where they're like, oh, the Olympics ain't shit. It's all about the fucking Olympics. They're the fucking superhero Olympics or whatever. I'm not sure. It seemed kind of silly, but we'll see. But it's fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. Even if the writing is gonna get kind of if it ever gets kind of tiring or whatever, I'm very like just fascinated by character designs. The guy just keeps drawing such cool looking characters. You're like, I really want to know that guy's superpower. That's a cool superpower, and he looks cool doing it. Or like he will draw, like he draws All Might, who's this series, Superman. You know, he can do everything, super fast, super strong, blah blah blah. He's just Superman, you know, but just through a Japanese lens, I guess. But like he's drawn when he's All Might, he's drawn with high detail, high fidelity, deep shadows. Whereas you look at the main character and he's got a very like, you know, he's drawn to be plain. His face doesn't have any creases in it. He's got just kind of like a black mob for hair, you know, whatever. So like it's like the new kid. The kid that's gonna become the main character. He is like a very typical shonen manga character. He's got that cute look, but he's also he can be intense. He can be a fighter. And then you got this 50s era. Actually, another thing too. Side note: a lot of the starts of chapters, their front page looks like an old comic book cover. I think that's pretty cool too. But he's designed to be this, I think, literally a Silver Age character, because at one point when he walks, he teaches at the school, so he walks into the classroom and the kids are like, oh my god, he's in his Silver Age costume. So I think it's literally what he's designed to be. But he's kind of cool. And apparently, I had heard of this and just looked this up. There's another character gets added in. What is his name? I forget. I want to say it's like Splain. No. Oh, I forget. Splice? Something like that. Something really kind of corny but edgy sounding with an S. I forget what it's called. And he's designed to look like a 90s Image Comics character, where he's got, like a big scarf thing over his face, and he's wearing kind of buckles, and I'm going to look it up. I forget. Stain. His name is Stain. And he is got like, he's got this big scarf on. It's all torn up too. It's not like, it's like a normal scarf. It's like ripped like they had in the Image Comics days with like Spawn, like his cape, the fraying at the end of his cape. It looks like that. He uses like knives and shit. So he's like this, goofy 90s, very 90s aesthetic character with a silly name like Stain. So like, the artist, the mangaka who's doing this, he's got a lot of different, aesthetics for different characters that fall into certain tropes that do different things. I think that's a really cool thing. So even if like the story is going to get kind of bland, I don't know, maybe this arc is just kind of boring. We'll see. I mean, there's 150 chapters ish. I think it might be a little less that are available right now. So when I get caught up to the whole thing, I'm like in like somewhere between 20 and 25, 30, somewhere in that range. So clearly there's a lot more that can go, and in 10 chapters, a massive swath, like giant chunk of an arc. And then the other thing I've been reading too is Dr. Stone. Just fucking really cool. I'm going to keep praising Dr. Stone until either it sucks or it gets a little more popular, because I don't want it to stop, because I'm very curious and want to see where it goes. I think it's just, they pack so much in every chapter. The story is cool. It's going in cool places. I really fucking hope that it becomes, I know it's like kind of like a middling to upper tier popularity in Japan, because the people post the rankings online, so sometimes you can find them. I just looked at it, it was like at rank 5 or 6 when I looked last time, but I think that was a couple months old, because it's, whatever, they release it by a monthly basis, maybe a weekly basis, I forget, but like the rankings, because I believe the end of every Shonen Jump in Japan is you literally can rank each fucking series that's in there, and then send it in, and then they know what series to push, what series to pull, which, when, try to, because there's only can be so many pages in each issue, so series are rotated out, and some series are pushed forward, that kind of thing. Like One Piece, like almost always holding a top 3 spot. It's kind of crazy. Like a lot of times it's number 1, and then sometimes something new pops up, so it falls to 2 or 3. But like most of the time, it's in top 3. Like that's a fucking popular series, which is crazy because like it's just been going on for so long. But yeah, that is just like, I might do something more about that with Dr. Stone. I don't know, because I just like Dr. Stone so much. I just want it to really become something. So we'll see what happens. I mean, it'd be kind of great if it wasn't like super duper long, but I definitely want it to have a completion. Like, I know shonen are written in a way that encourage kind of a continuous story sometimes, but it's very possible that Dr. Stone is not going to aim for an endless story. Shonen Jump might pressure the guys writing it to maybe do more, but maybe we'll get lucky and they'll let him just kind of tell a story. And I kind of want that. Just like I want the story to be told in the way that he wants it told. So I hope it at least finishes properly if it got to finish, because I don't want it to go on forever, but I also do want it to like do something, because it is a really cool story and the progression of it is cool. Yeah, I really like that series a lot. I was actually impressed how much I enjoyed that. And I guess just kind of the last thing I've been doing is I've been watching more Animaniacs, which I don't remember if I ever mentioned on this show. I must have. I don't know. I talk to a lot of people about different stuff, and like I just kind of stream of consciousness everything. So I don't really ever. I can never remember what I talk about where. But Animaniacs is fucking great. Like it's just such a smart show, and like it's just, oh my god, it's so crazy how like just cool, like how great things go and stuff. How clever they get. Oh my god, like it's just so, like there was a fucking one episode where they're meeting Einstein, because the Warners are like elder god level of powerful. Like it's great. They can time travel. They can fucking like they can make anything appear. They can fucking like, it's crazy. If you think about it, like because sometimes they interact with like a person like Albert Einstein, they just interact with a real person, and the things that they do are just like they're crazy, unbelievably powerful. Like there's just these crazy, like, because they're like in a cartoon world, so they can just do cartoon shit all the time, and they do it. They don't ever like hold back from it, which I think is always pretty cool. And then they do these like side fucking these side cartoons. So it's not always just the Warners. Sometimes it's Pinky and the Brain. Sometimes it's the pigeon characters, which actually is the only one I really don't like. There's like these pigeons that apparently are the good feathers, like the Goodfellas. I don't really understand, like sometimes this show makes references that I am too young to understand, which is crazy because I remember when it was on, but I think it's like real old references here and there. And so sometimes I just don't follow like what's happening or like what references it's trying to make. The one I really, really, really like is Slappy the Squirrel. I don't know why people don't mention her. I think she's basically Who Framed Roger Rabbit, like that, like cartoon characters are just actors that, live in our world type thing, where she's like a retired one. And she was part of that like older, like Looney Tunes era of cartoons. And but she's like retired, and she's kind of like sassy about it, but like she'll constantly just like make like, she's like kind of like an old woman who's like, I don't give a fuck anymore. But like she'll like, and she's got her nephew who's kind of like a young kid in like the 90s, like a little kid, like, the age group that'd be watching this type thing, I guess. And she just like, her commentary on like cartoons and then like modern day and just people, children and all this shit is just really funny. Like the Bambi's mom episode, basically parodying like Bambi's mom's death, and then it's affecting her nephew, and then she's like, oh, but I know Bambi's mom. We fucking work together on something. We'll go to her house. I'll show you she's still alive, because they're just actors or whatever. So like there's this whole, and like the whole way, like the whole time she's just making jokes about everything. She's hilarious. She's like, she was so funny, where she's just either being super sarcastic or she's making some rap joke about, whatever happened modern today or whatever. And I just think she's fucking such a great she's so well designed. Oh god. And like the writing in all of Animaniacs is crazy good. It's always super good. Even if I don't always understand what's happening, like it's always just fascinating. I'm always a big fan of just Animaniacs, the way they draw. Like the one thing with the Albert Einstein episode, I forget why, for what purpose, but they write Acme backwards on a chalkboard. But the way Wacko draws, A's looks like a 2. So it literally is E equals MC squared on this chalkboard, Acme backwards or whatever. So like weird things like that I would never have thought of. But like the writers were so like clever about it. And like I know it's very much a writer's show because John Kay, the guy who did Ren and Stimpy, was very anti-Animaniacs because he believed that cartoons and animation should be an animator's first position. So the animators, it's written through the storyboard. It's written through the paint, the frames. You know, it's you animate first, story comes second. Oops. And then Animaniacs the opposite, where it's clearly written out, very detailed, with very complex, like not necessarily completely complex jokes, but complex jokes or detailed jokes or layered jokes, like whatever. And you know, because it's a writer's show first, because it came from Steven Spielberg and all that shit. But I definitely think there's merit in both. I don't see, like John Kay is sometimes just, like some people think he's kind of a crazy guy, but like I think John Kay is very good at what he did. He has said a lot of crazy things in the past, but like I think, you know, Ren and Stimpy was great as it is, and it's this great, like, wild, crazy experience, and it definitely influenced, you know, all of the Newgrounds era of animators that came in, you know, the early 2000s. So, like, it was important, and I'm not going to take that away from that at all, and I do love Ren and Stimpy. Like, I own his, like, the years he worked on Ren and Stimpy on DVD, because, like, they released like, his work, and then the rest of Ren and Stimpy separate, instead of, like, releasing, like, here's season 1, and season 2, and season 3. It's, like, there's just everything John Kay worked on, and then if they fired him, here's the rest of Ren and Stimpy, so if you want the, you know, that kind of thing. And like, he's not perfect either. Like, when they did Ren and Stimpy Adult Party, or whatever that, like, a Spike TV spinoff was, like, that was terrible. Like, no one gives a shit. So, it was lightning in a bottle at this one time, where he was, like, under censorship restrictions, but, like, still got past things. That's what makes that show fascinating. And I think that's kind of the similar idea of Rocko's Modern Life, where they were under kind of they're under censorship of, you know, being a children's, like, television network, but they're still going to try to find workarounds to still make their jokes they want to make, because, you know, they're not going to, you know, whatever. So I'll be curious to see where that ends up as the Ren and Stimpy, or not the Ren and Stimpy, Rocko's Modern Life movie that's coming out soon-ish. We'll see how they handle it. So, but I think with that, I will wrap up this. I mean, this is kind of a short extra bit, kind of. I just don't want to talk so much about Death Note, which is just that movie, man. It was just so fucking unbelievably just weird. It's just such a crazy thing. Like, apparently that guy is like, he's just kind of not accepting that people don't like it, and he's like, I'm saying on Twitter that, like, people who don't like it are just trolls or something, which I don't know. That doesn't seem like a good way to go about growing. Apparently, I was listening to YMS, Your Movie Sucks. Shout out to him. He's one of the best YouTube movie reviewers online. He was on a podcast this week, the Pizza Party podcast, and he was talking about just, like, that guy's catalog of work, and he was like, he's fucking always terrible. He's just always bad. So I've never watched anything that guy's ever done besides this. I watched VHS, but I only watched the one that's becoming its own movie, because it's like a bunch of shorts. What do you call it? Anthologies. Horror anthology. I only watched the first, or VHS, I only watched, I believe, the first short, which I cannot remember what it's called. Party Night or something? Night Out? It's going to become a movie called Siren. So it spun off into something. So, but that one's really good. That one's really well done. But apparently the guy who did this Death Note movie did a section in, what do you call it? VHS. There it is. So he did a part in VHS. And so, apparently he's just always been bad. People like The Guest, never saw it. I do know it exists, though. And he did the Blair Witch remake recently, which I've never seen the original Blair Witch, so I can't really, and I never watched that one either, so I don't really know how that plays into it. But apparently he missed the fucking boat on the fucking meaning of Blair Witch there, and he definitely missed completely, like, what he got out of Death Note, the anime, and what I got out of Death Note, the anime, are completely different things. Like, what we like and what was, like, important, like, for him it seems to be gore and, like, just kind of being edgy and teenagers fucking, I don't know. And then, you know, I prefer the 3D chess mind games part of it. So we clearly look at this totally differently. So we'll see. I don't know. Death Note, man. We'll see what goes on with that. So, man, such a crazy fucking thing. But I keep talking about it. Been talking about it for, like, a combined fucking, like, full hour. So clearly I had a lot more to say on Death Note than I thought I would. I just watched the show and I was like, that was alright. Kind of falls off the wagon, but what are you gonna do? And then just coming back into this, it's like, what the fuck? So, I don't know. So, with that, I guess we'll just wrap up. Maybe this will come back up, but episode 20, can't believe that I actually did it for 20 so far. No plans on stopping. You know, I just I don't even know what inspired me to do it. I was like, you know what? I kind of think I want to try doing a podcast. And I fucking started doing one. And I made a lot of mistakes early on, but like, what are you gonna, I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. No one really, I mean, it's kind of a weird thing to do. You're just like, oh, I do a podcast. People are like, that's weird. You know, it's just kind of like a stream of consciousness to have a conversation, talk. And sometimes it's just me talking to you, the dear listener. So thanks for sticking it out. If you have been here from the beginning, or if you're here for the first time, thanks for doing this. Thanks for indulging my crazy, because it's just been kind of fun. It's kind of a thing I want to, keep doing. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I mean, 20, it's definitely way different from the first one I ever did, this episode 20. But we'll see what happens. I kind of want to try more internet stuff. Like, I would like to start streaming, like I told in the mic episode, so I'm going to figure out what that looks like. And just maybe do some other stuff with the YouTube channel or something. I don't really know. I got all these things, like I have all these things now. I got like a SoundCloud and a YouTube channel and all this stuff. So it's like, should I utilize this better? I don't know. Maybe I should. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe I'll figure out a way to maybe film the actual podcast part of it. Like, I don't know. I'm not really sure what this will become, but stick it out. We'll see together, I guess. So, but thanks for listening to all this. It means a lot. When someone comes up to me and is like, hey, I actually do like your podcast. It's like, oh wow, that's so weird. I can't imagine that someone like wants to sit down and listen to me sometimes. So that's pretty cool. It's cool that people just listen on a regular basis. So thank you. But with that, I think we'll end episode 20. It was good fun. I enjoyed kind of breaking down Death Note. Like, it was a fun thing to watch and be like, I can't believe this exists, and then to immediately be able to jump in and kind of hash it out on mic, as opposed to just kind of like, my mind just running at 1,000,000 miles an hour and just trying to like process everything. So it was a good time. So I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back soon with 21. So with that, love and kisses.